Would you guys be kind enough to give me whatever it is in accurate breaking information on the shooting outside of where Drake lives, please? Because we have some information trickling in, and I don't have the availability to see how current and accurate it is, and I don't know how big a story this is about to become. I assume that many people are going to make links given what is happening with Drake in the news, and I don't want to do anything reckless here that's not responsible. So what's the accurate information as we sit here right now?
So details are still trickling in, but the CBC is reporting that Drake's mansion is at the center of an investigation of a shooting. There has been a person that has been injured. Presently, they're alive, but seriously injured by this apparent drive-by shooting at his home.
And that's all we have at the moment, and I suppose we can wait until more accurate information is available to jump to any conclusions.
The alleged shooting that was of the drive-by variety, all reportedly, happened at around 2 a.m. Eastern this morning.
I will segue from that while waiting for more complete information into something that Greg Cody came in here today wanting to do. Greg Cody,
do you find it comforting when Greg is breathing that loudly? Because I find it as like a not so subtle reminder that he's still here with us.
Yeah, I'm happy he's breathing, but man, is that loud.
I don't know that I'm a loud breather.
Yeah.
Okay, it's called exhaling.
Yeah. It's a good sign, though, Mike. He's alive.
Well, everyone else here has the need to exhale, and no one else here is doing it quite the way that you are. Yeah. You have inflamed nostrils, and it's just as a birth. Like, he's got the largest nostrils of anyone here.
I got giant nostrils.
Yeah. Naturally, given how Drake has been in the news with his well-reported on very public beef with Kendrick Lamar, which also included, I don't know if this is the same mansion, but the mansion, a Google Map location being sent out as cover art. There's a lot of internet conjecture right now, considering the nature of this alleged shooting.
I'm trying to avoid the conjecture. And
but I also want to put it out there because I don't, like, we just let it sit there. Yeah. And the only thing that accompanied it was Greg Cody breathing into a microphone. So.
You could have just waited. I mean,
I could have, but I'm genuinely curious about what the most up-to-date information is.
You can put the conjecture on other folks that are clearly everyone's running wild on the internet right now, but there is a security guard that has been very seriously injured.
Now Greg Cody's afraid of the microphone.
I'm afraid. I'm self-conscious about breathing.
Catching the feeling that a lot of people are afraid of the microphone right now, given the subject matter.
Yeah. Let's catch up here with something that Greg Cody did today that he very rarely does. I don't feel like there have been many times in our history doing this that Greg Cody comes in here and says flatly to me, pulls me aside and says, I have a content idea. And so when he came to me, look at Lucy, delighted by the idea. I don't think you're going to, Lucy, I think you're going to like his idea less than anyone here.
She won't go along.
I think that you're applauding this idea back here, but I don't think you're going to like it. Greg Cody thought that as a content play, he gave me no other context for this. And he said, we should shave off our eyebrows.
Yeah, I don't like that.
All of us? Why?
All of us.
All of us. It has to be 100%.
Why?
Just for fun.
Oh.
It's an experiment. Does an eyebrow grow back in? I want to find that out.
Yes, experiment over.
I think it's dangerous at your age.
Why?
I just don't think the follicles fire off the same way at your age.
Why are we all doing this?
It's a communal effort. It's like a team building thing.
Remember when Mike Woodson did that?
It is great. Please find for me, if you would, on the internet, the photos of former Knicks coach Mike Woodson shaving off his eyebrows. And I do believe they've grown back for him.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. If you're older, are your eyebrows less likely to grow back once you've shaved them?
Most eyebrows grow back. Excuse me, I'm getting tired here. Usually 3 months, sometimes 6 months. But somewhere within that range, that's how long they take to grow back. How about that?
Wow, yeah, I'm looking here. It says a few months.
Yeah.
I don't want to look like that for a few months.
Mm-hmm. Bad idea?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good-looking man.
Oh, man.
Damn
well,
right.
it used to be before he shaved his eyebrows.
Yeah.
I believe it's distracting the way that Mike Woodson...
put his mustache above his eyes, and you got eyebrows.
Or never shave your eyebrows.
That's another option.
Look at Billy choosing the efficient route for once in his life. You're correct. The better way to do it would be simply don't shave your eyebrows. But the second best solution is Greg's, which is once you've shaven them, just take your mustache and slice it into 2 pieces and then put it over your eyes.
Right.
Or temporary tattoos. That might be easier than the mustache
Yeah, I would do
thing.
that.
I like Greg's idea better than temporary tattoos.
It's quite the conundrum, though, right? Because you don't want to look the way you'd look without eyebrows, but you also want the team building.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do?
I feel like you could use mascara.
No.
Pencil in your eyebrows.
No, that's not what mascara is for. What do you think mascara is?
I don't know. It sounds like a pasta shell. I don't know what a mascara is.
It's not a pasta shell.
Mascara with
That's
sauce.
not what that is.
Can I get an
Sausage
order?
and mascara.
Mascara.
Can I get an order of the mascara?
Well, what do you think mascara is, Greg?
Yeah, what is it?
Isn't it like for eyebrows? Like you
I
pencil
think
in your
so.
eyebrows? No.
No.
What is mascara?
Al
No, it is
dente.
not.
No.
The women think they know everything about makeup.
Oh,
All right,
boy.
what's mascara?
All right, Greg.
Whoa.
Say you're sorry to me.
I'm just
Didn't like the
saying.
tone.
Right, tell us what mascara
No,
is.
say you're sorry
Say
first.
sorry.
Say sorry.
I
Apologize,
got to figure
Greg.
out what I should apologize.
Tone,
but for those
tone.
that don't.
All right, what's mascara?
Hold on. By the way, Greg, the way you said "tell us," they teach you in journalism. Never start a question with "tell us."
That's fair. You got me on that. You got me on that.
Lucy, don't answer his question. I'd like him to swim around for a moment on defining for us what he believes mascara to be.
Okay, mascara. It comes in a big tube. You dip it. It's got a little brush there, and I don't know exactly what you do, but
Nailed it.
I was under the
You
impression
paint your eyebrows
you
on.
go like that on
Yeah,
your eyebrows.
exactly right.
Mascara.
That's for eyelashes.
I think that's
thought.
right.
That's why.
Eyelashes?
Yeah, it's for eyelashes.
Me maximum.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Lucy should apologize.
What do you mean, Lucy? What does Lucy need to
Questioning
apologize?
Greg.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I believe. Are you not going to respect Lucy's request for an apology?
Okay, do you really think I need to apologize to you?
Woman, yes.
It's a compliment.
Just calling me woman?
Or do you deny it?
Nobody admits they're wrong worse than my dad.
He is the worst, right? Like this is. Look, let's explore this for a
When's
second.
the last time
Next
you
thing he's
apologized?
gonna say, "You may be right, Lucy."
Do me a favor. Call your mom right now because I believe that she lives in the same place that I do, which is Greg will make a wrong argument loudly and for a long time, and it takes him forever to make the concession that he was wrong. He will almost never in the moment just say, I'm sorry.
Raise your hand if you'd like to watch a courtroom drama starring Greg Cody as a lawyer.
Raise your hand if you want me to clear his damn throat.
Lucy, if I offended you in any way,
No,
I
no,
apologize.
no.
That's not how apologies work.
Yeah,
No,
sure
no,
it is.
no.
If you're
Me maximum.
offended,
No
I'm
ifs.
sorry.
No ifs, Greg.
No ifs.
Me maximum. Right. Me maximum apology. I know how to apologize like nobody else.
That is true.
You can't even look
Doesn't
at
mean
it.
it's great, but like nobody else.
It is like nobody else in that you apologize by not apologizing at
I
all.
just apologized to Lucy. I like Lucy. I'm not going
When?
to insult her. Just now, I'm sorry.
Okay, I forgive you.
There it is.
Was that hard? Was that hard? Seriously.
Phantom of the Cody shirts available right now at LeBatardAF.com.
I have been negligent in not reminding people that Juju has produced some very cool Greg Cody shirts that you can get at LeBatardAF.com if you're about the Tuesday experience here. Artistically done, and somehow Greg Cody looks cool there. I would like to talk to Orlean for a second about how wrong Greg usually is and when the last time was that he just immediately apologized. Because I don't think, how long have you been
Well, just
married?
now, I mean.
Now?
We've been married 40 years, 39 years,
Chris, I want to.
82, 83, I don't know. 84.
83 years.
It
Chris,
feels like it. I'm kidding. It's sort of.
What's the average length of time between Greg being wrong and Greg finally saying, I'm
He
sorry?
never does. He does the thing that he did here where if I insulted you, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You may be. It's never like I screwed up, I'm sorry.
Okay, your mother's cut from the same cloth. Talk about a woman who never apologizes. Oh, my God.
I'm going to cut this part out of the
I can
podcast
count
for
on
you.
one hand the number of apologies I've gotten over the years.
Well, how about you in 40 years? How many times have you apologized to her?
I mean, we rarely have a need to apologize to each other. We have an amicable relationship, not to mention a loving one.
Greg, you rarely your wife would not agree with the assessment that you rarely have a reason to apologize. She's simply gotten used to and accepts, understands, and loves a husband who does not apologize. You are out of your mind if you believe that you rarely do things that require an apology. There's no way Erlene is agreeing with that.
Okay, well, she may accuse me of things that are in contest.
It's how women are, right, Greg?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I
You
mean,
did.
we had a number of people last night who were not doing what they wanted to be doing. Chris Cody wanted to be at a Panthers game. Lucy wanted to be paying attention to the Met Gala, and I think Amin did too. I'm not sure that Amin could have done without the first couple of quarters of that Pacers game so that he could laugh at the Met Gala folks.
I've never watched the Met Gala in my life, but I've always seen the aftermath. And so experiencing it secondhand through Lucy is pretty much my experience all the time. It's just instead of Twitter, I had an actual real-life human putting out things.
I also had my computer up there, so I don't know if you could see behind
I was
here.
not looking.
Oh.
Lucy, winners and losers from last night, fashion-wise.
Man, I gotta say there were a lot of losers, and that's tough for me. The theme was so broad. Garden of Time to represent the Sleeping Beauty exhibit. There was so much we could have worked with, and no one did. No one did. Lizzo, I don't know what she was wearing. Terrible.
That was the worst. That's the one that bothered you last night. And I believe you put, and this I didn't know what to do with, you put us in the position of putting you in the position who was the only woman on air with us last night of being fashion correspondent, but nobody asked you to do that. You chose to do that and didn't really want to be doing the basketball
You should
with us.
apologize for that, Lucy. Yeah.
Yep.
There's too much woman talk for this. Just call me Lucy. We don't have to just refer to me as the woman.
Regardless, who were the biggest losers? The biggest? Was it Lizzo? Because you were complaining about her last night. Ben Simmons showed up.
How is he getting invites? I mean, what has he done?
Ben Simmons?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a fashion icon, the same way that Kyle Kuzma, the same way that Kyle Kuzma
No one
is.
thinks fashion icon with Ben Simmons, Dan. Nobody.
He's like the Pink Panther. He just steals a lot of money.
Stugotz, I don't believe that you and I are qualified to decide for others who is fashionable or not. But the same way Kyle Kuzma is proud of the stuff he wears, Ben Simmons clearly put effort into what it is that he's wearing here.
Right.
Well-
He's fresh as hell, too.
Yeah, Lucy explained it to us last night. He was actually on brand with whatever the theme was.
He did great, and for the biggest losers, it seems like it was me from all of this.
I'm sorry, Lucy.
Aw.
That's how it's done.
Aw.
A sarcastic aw.
What are you doing?
How is it better than it was better when you were just breathing too loud?
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite.
What happened? What
No one
happened?
turned my pot on.
But it's right next to you.
I know, but it's not my responsibility. I mean, I did it. I turned it on, but it's not my responsibility.
I'm sorry, Stu.
Apology accepted.
The cycle is broken.
Huh.
Your voice still sounds like that cycle's not broken. You need to apologize for it.
Sorry, I'm not sorry.
Anyway, brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, playoff basketball and hockey is great. But let's be honest, we all miss football. Luckily, this week, we get our fix. And boy, do I need it. I have been refreshing my computer every hour, waiting and waiting. Who plays who? When? winners, losers,
Really?
rookies, rivalries, rematches, football.
You want the schedule?
Do I want the schedule? Here we go, because Dan, make no mistake about it, the NFL schedule release week is back. It's big. You're not excited?
There is football going on right now.
There is?
Yeah.
If you say so.
I'm not even paying that much attention to the league this year, but the ratings for it are crazy. They're getting over 1 million viewers for these games.
For real?
Yeah.
Huh.
Again, I guess putting it on the main networks is helping.
Speaking of back, in less than 2 weeks, Dead and Company. J.J. Watt telling D'Amico Ryans he'll come out of retirement if the Texans need him. First off, they don't. Secondly, of course he wants to come back when the Texans get good to ride some coattails. Dan, the J at J.J. Watt stands for Johnny Come Lately. Enough of him, man. JJ, just so we're clear, any Super Bowls won with this Texan team won't count as a ring or a Super Bowl championship in my personal record book. Speaking of, StugottsBook.com. Just so we're clear, and this is for Dan and all the people in charge of Metal Arc, starting May 17th, whenever there is a Dead and Company show, there's a good chance I won't be here. If I am, consider it a bonus. Also, I'll likely figure out a way to expense most of my trips.
This is how he puts in for PTO right now. That's how he did it.
Someone tell Whittingham. A second top 5 basketball players that connote marijuana. I left a few on the table last night for Barnes and Stack.
That was delightful. I have not, in our company, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes haven't found anything as funny as they found that.
OLI. Haywood Highsmith. Number 5, Puff Johnson. Number 4, the great Herb Williams. Number 3, Rip Hamilton.
All good. All good.
Number 2, Zaza.
Amen.
And number 1, Dr. J. Watch out for the Mariners.
Mike has been watching out for the Mariners.
Good team.
He is a Mariners fan.
Yep.
Best pitching staff, arguably ever?
Oh, come on.
Mike.
Question mark?
Mike.
Well, they have to
Mike.
finish the story, but they are damn good.
The Braves.
How do the Angels have the same record as the Houston Astros?
I don't know.
Astros have been bad this year.
The Maple Leafs did what the Maple Leafs do. Am I wrong? That's what they do. Between this series and Kendrick Lamar's diss tracks at Drake, it was a tough weekend for Toronto. The Six, Smetty, saying she's moving for the 5th time this month to avoid coming here last night for a Knicks watch-along. Smetty, heady play. Also, the Stugotz is strong in you. Stugotz. Boomer Esiason, saying the key for the Knicks to beating the Pacers is playing Precious Achua. More is what New York sports radio is all about. Booms. Precious played 4 minutes last night. They were fun. Dan, you throw that out there, I'm telling you right now, you take calls on it for 4 hours, you get a 17 share.
Yeah.
More Precious. I love that station.
Pat Riley took him over Maxey. 1 pick before.
Ooh, that hurts.
Not as bad as the Justice Winslow one over Devin Booker, but it's up there.
The only way I get excited about the Jets drafting an offensive lineman in the first round is if they pick the 17-year-old sumo wrestler that wrestled Micah Parsons.
No way that kid's 17, by the way. No chance. I need to see a birth certificate.
Jimmy Butler saying if I was playing Boston and New York, they'd be home. Dan, you know what the J at Jimmy Butler stands for?
I do not.
It stands for just shut the up already.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Mark it.
Greg Cody
That's
loves that.
disrespectful.
Yeah.
All season, Jimmy said wait for the playoffs. Hey, Jimmy, we're waiting.
Fair.
Jimmy Butler also called out and dissed Josh Hart. Jimmy Butler would need a week off if he played Josh Hart's minutes.
I mean, he did in the bubble.
Oh, enough.
They never got to play that Jimmy part of the commercial, the playoff Jimmy, Chris. Sorry, bro.
T-Wolves beating the Nuggets in Game 2. Statement game. Random thought. How did Tom Crean's Georgia team with Anthony Edwards finish tied for 13th in the SEC?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
There's a great answer to it. Yeah. That's why he's not there anymore.
The Cavs and Magic should have to keep playing until a road team wins. The rare series that finished before it ever got started. Weird, that series. Cavs fans chanting, "We want Boston." Cavs fans, you don't.
No, you don't.
The Jets' schedule hasn't been released yet, and I already have them starting 0-3. I hate them. Tom Brady getting mad at the Robert Kraft massage joke. That massage joke really rubbed him the wrong way. Darvin Ham, thank you very much. Well the rare coach to be fired after winning the in-season tournament. The nerve. Darvin Ham. Death, taxes, and LeBron's coach getting fired after underperforming. Seriously, how many coaches have been fired under LeBron? The L in LeBron stands for look in the mirror.
He's had 10 coaches?
He's got as many coaches fired as Michael Jordan has rings. Listen, if we were defining greatest basketball player of all time by how many coaches you get fired, LeBron would be the greatest basketball player of all time.
Is it 10? Has he played for 10 coaches in the pros?
Yeah.
They had a debate yesterday on First Take whether or not LeBron playing for 10 coaches affects him in the GOAT conversation. Great topic.
It does. Yeah.
He's on mute.
JJ Redick, Lakers, collision course. Dan, you know what the D in Donovan Mitchell stands for?
I do not.
Do it against Boston. Mystic Dan, winning the Kentucky Derby by a nose. Game of inches. Also, horse racing is dead. It's done. I mean, no one cares.
What about harness racing?
Greg's going to bring it back.
Who won? Who won?
Jalen Brunson getting to go up against former Mavericks coach Rick Carlisle after Carlisle benched Brunson in the 2021 playoffs. Revenge series. To the referee that gave Anthony Edwards a tech for just staring somebody down in a second-round playoff game, get over yourself. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to that game to watch you. By the time next season rolls around, the media will once again convince us that the Clippers are contenders. The Clippers said they'd like Paul George and James Harden back with Kawhi next season. I have a question. Kawhi. Thank you.
That is a Greg Cody special there.
like
That
it.
is not the ally you want on that joke. I like that joke as well, Stugotz, but Greg Cody liking that joke.
I like Greg as my
Greg
ally.
Cody
Yeah,
likes
I do.
the
I love you, Greg.
the worse the wordplay, the happier Greg Cody is.
Thank you.
Mark Cuban, send me your address so I can send you a personal thank you note for Jalen Brunson. Shohei Ohtani going 8 for 12 this weekend as LA sweeps the Braves. It is completely unfair that he is their third best hitter. It's ludicrous.
Yep.
Thank you.
He's not.
Really?
I mean, Mookie Betts has been better this year.
Yeah, MVP.
Freddie Freeman?
We've got some Ohtani stats for you.
He's great.
No one's disputing his greatness.
Do it on the mound. I mean.
I mean, you got me there this season. But concentrating on hitting is kind of working out for him.
It's pretty good.
You know what I did before the Stars Knights on Sunday night? I put the kids to bed. They're in college, but I called them, and I demanded they go to bed right now. They did. Dan, you know what you do when Jokic is getting played off the floor by Naz Reid?
What do you do?
You pack it in and regroup.
Okay. So, Mike Malone, you've been told you need to pack it in and regroup.
When Nikola Jokic is winning championships, he looks like a generational talent. When Nikola Jokic is losing by 26 points at home to go down 0-2 in the Western Conference semifinals, he looks like Brian Cardinal, but worse.
I mean, are you shaking your head because he still hasn't learned how to say his last name?
Jokic sounds like something I need new bag for.
Cards.
Courtesy of Sarah Langs. Ohtani, most extra base hits in the league. Ohtani, most hits in the league. Ohtani, best batting average in the league. Ohtani, most runs in the league. Ohtani, most total bases in the league. Ohtani, best on base percentage. Ohtani, best slugging percentage. Hand in hand, Ohtani, best OPS in the league. Also, he's had 52 hits in his first 35 games as a Dodger. He never had 52 hits in any span of 35 games as an Angel. It would seem that concentrating on hits and just hitting alone without having to pitch at all,
right?
If he just did that over the course of his career and you extrapolated these numbers over what would have been his career, we're looking at possibly the home run king
Maybe.
and clearly the greatest hitter of all time.
Also leads the majors in illegal bets. What happened?
Allegedly.
Did Orlando lose or did Cleveland win?
Did that series even happen?
I have no idea.
If it happened, if a tree falls on NBA TV.
I cross that one out. Hold on. Actually put that in there.
Oh, yeah. No, great minds.
A's beating the Marlins 20-4. The rare game with more runs than fans. If a 7-game series between Cleveland and Orlando happened, but no one saw it, no one cared. Did it actually happen?
You didn't cross it out?
I did it.
Oh, but you didn't use a
Too
tree
close.
line.
Yeah.
You didn't use a tree line? Oh. Or NBA TV. I feel like I had the better end.
Le Batard should change his name to Mystic Dan. It's a good name.
Dan, why do you have that? Are you just focusing on hitting?
Jalen Rose.
The T in Twins stands for 12 out of 13. Watch out. Twinkies. Happy belated anniversary to Dan Le Batard, who 2 years ago on Sunday wore gym shorts to a Formula One race. F1. F-U. Thought you were going to say that to me. You did it. For those of you who decided to compare Anthony Edwards to Michael Jordan, I have some advice. Don't.
Thanks.
In fact, I'm keeping tabs.
Uh-oh.
And all of you
Uh-oh.
who have dared let those words come out of your mouth into a live microphone, you have until the close of business today to shove those words right back in your mouths. COB. I love a good keeping of the tabs. If you think Tom Thibodeau is giving the Knicks a day off today, you simply don't know Tom Thibodeau. If you think Tom Thibodeau was happy with that victory last night, you don't know Tom Thibodeau. 4-hour practice, 1 hour of stretching, 2 hours defensive drills, and then sprints.
Thibs.
This is probably unfair and irresponsible of me, but every time I see Dana White, I assume he's on cocaine.
Seemed to be some of that going on there. Not with him, particularly. He wasn't the one that stuck out.
Name names. The least shocking thing in sports is that J.J. Watt thinks the Texans are a J.J. Watt away from winning a Super Bowl. Get over yourself. What did I get from the Tom Brady roast? He's coming back. You agree?
I do not.
Giselle's upset, by the way.
So is Aaron Hernandez's family and a whole bunch of people.
I mean, Giselle has a right.
Glouch.
What happened there? I haven't felt that bad for someone being roasted since me and Dan were roasted by Mark Ockman.
Wow.
I felt bad for us that night.
Old memories.
Good callback.
Top 5 people in sports I want to see roasted next. OLI, Stephen A. Smith. Good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
He'd be great.
He'd do all the facial
Yes.
things when, like they make a joke at his expense. He's like, ah.
He would do all of that.
He would. You're right. Number 5, Barry Bonds. Number 4, Aaron Rodgers. Number 3, Tiger Woods. Number 2, Derek Jeter. And number 1, LeBron James. Top 5 people I'd like to see roast LeBron James. Number 5, Andy Ellisberg. They made him wait for hours outside in the casino with Riley. Number 4, David Blatt.
Wait, you had Andy Ellisberg like at the slots?
Yes.
Just,
They
How'd it
were.
go,
They were
Pat?
playing blackjack.
They were.
They were. They were waiting playing blackjack.
Number 3, Dan Gilbert. Number 2, Pat Riley. And number 1, of course, JJ Barea. Nobody caught more strays in the Tom Brady roast than Aaron Hernandez, which I thought was unfair, since he's already getting roasted in hell. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
An age-old sports debate topic made an appearance yesterday, Stugotz, and ended up not mattering at all because of how the Timberwolves blew out Denver on the road. But almost as long as I have been doing this, there have been arguments that break out when a Rudy Gobert misses an important game to go be somewhere for the birth of his first child. Now, this happened last year in football where a Bengals offensive lineman, whose name I don't remember, came to the game to lose 38-16 or something with Cincinnati's backup quarterback or third-string quarterback in what was already a lost season. I know Amin can speak to this, and you heard Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes speak to it yesterday. There is something about sports, and you have to count on the man next to you, that kind of mentality and woman next to you when you're playing. I don't think that this would make an appearance, obviously, in women's sports. I don't think there's an angle at which you can get to. I may have this wrong, but I just don't think that the sensibilities, I may be generalizing here, but the sensibilities when it comes to should I be there with my partner when they're giving birth, I think there's a coldness that men can apply to it in the name of teamwork that I simply don't associate with women. I may have that wrong.
Well, women have to be there for the birth.
Well, I'm talking about, I know you say that, but sometimes the partner doesn't have to be there when a woman gives birth. And if you're in a gay relationship, that's...
This is like the old doctor thing, right? Like the doctor operated on the doctor's child, but the doctor wasn't the father or whatever. What was it? Like, oh, I don't know. Oh, the doctor's a woman.
It's not that much of a riddle, actually, but I understand how Billy arrived there. I'm just asking as it applies to Rudy Gobert and Gilbert Arenas then saying the baby's going to be there when you get back. Gilbert Arenas said it that flatly. And there are all sorts of complications that can happen when someone is giving childbirth. And also, I would say that I would miss any game because that's a dangerous thing. It's a painful thing, and I would want to be with my wife no matter the game.
Especially the first one.
No matter,
the first
but
child.
not just especially the first one. In every circumstance, every single one, I would choose love over work, and I love my work plenty. But my work doesn't have the same environment that sports do, and so I want to ask the group the question.
All right, so this is a very important detail. The baby boy was delivered Monday morning, sources tell ESPN. So, at this point, it's what the guys were saying last night. Baby, are you good? Is the baby good? All right, I was there. I took the pictures. I cut off the umbilical cord. The game is Monday night. Like, kind of get to work and I'll be right back a few hours later.
What is the amount of time that you're okay with a player bypassing the ethos of the locker room, which is in important moments, I have to be able to count on the person next to me. That ethos being so pervasive that I think if I polled athletes, male athletes, I'm guessing that most of them would say, I have to be at the playoff game. I'm not saying 80%, but I'm guessing that the pressure to be there for your teammate.
I'd say higher, Dan.
You think higher?
Yes, I think most athletes would say I have to be there for my teammates no matter what.
I would say that most athletes would absolutely say I'd rather be there for the game, given the context that the child has been born this morning, everything is fine, and the child isn't being born in Canada or somewhere far, right?
It doesn't help his optics in terms of the meat-headed discussion around this that Brandon Carlo, a defenseman for the Boston Bruins, also became a dad on Monday at 3 a.m. in the morning, flew into Florida, scored a goal even
Hockey
as a defenseman.
player. Yeah.
It's why his heart is always compromised and tested by other people in the league. Like Draymond say, "Oh, Rudy's soft." Everybody, like, he has that soft persona right now because of things like this. It's like, bro, this is the playoffs. This is the Joker. I'm not saying you should what to do, but it's a very great example of why we consider him how we consider him.
If they're down 0-1, does he play? Because they had a game in hand. I mean, it's a good question.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'd like to address the first one before we address the second one.
I think he plays.
I like to.
But we don't have a good answer for the first one. It would, because it's all subjective. It all depends on the relationship, what your partner is experiencing, what your partner's wishes are,
how good you are on your team, whether we care. Like, if it's like the eighth guy on the bench, we're like, you go do your thing. But if it's Anthony Edwards, it's like, no, we need you.
Also, to be fair, not a vet move having a kid in the playoffs.
You got to time it out better?
You time it out in the off season.
That's he's
to be
not.
fair, he's never playing this deep.
He is. He's not. Yeah, he was saying to his wife, "They're just going to play me off the court in the second
like
round."
Playoffs. I'm not on there anyways.
Series
We're
will be
good.
over by then.
DeLon Wright of the Miami Heat got a rare opportunity to start a playoff game in Boston. He missed a game in the first round against Boston for the birth of his child. I'm just placing in front of the audience because I really don't get it. I'm at a loss. I don't work with anybody and have never worked with anybody that will help outside of sports, outside of the actual arena, that will make me understand what it is to choose work over your most prized and precious loved one.
But this is a team environment. It's the commitment to your teammates.
I know, but
that's what's important to a lot of these athletes.
Marriage and giving birth is also a team environment. Like, it's also very important. I understand. Like, being there for a possibly scared wife and a wife in pain, to me, I would want to be present to make sure that if there's any soothing I could possibly provide, I'm not in a locker room unavailable for a call.
What if your wife says, "Hey, I'm good. Baby, good. I'm going to be fine.
Different.
I have support here.
That's
Go
that's
play."
different.
Hey,
but
go
I
make
still
the money. Go make the money that's going to provide for this family. Like, you have a chance to cement your legacy in the playoffs against Nikola Jokic. Your child is going to benefit from that. Go get him, Rudy.
Also, the baby was already born. What are we doing here? The baby wasn't born at tip-off. Monday morning, sources tell Tim McMahon of ESPN.
I'm not having the conversation. It is an important part of the context, what you're saying. That timing is something that is suspect.
And the resources, he can hop on a private jet and be at the game.
Correct.
Let's go.
But I'm making it more complicated than that. This is the way that you're making the argument here. I'm making it not quite that escape route. I'm asking you to put them right next to each other and make it a more difficult choice than the one that you're saying is being made by Gobert there.
Greg, when Chris was born, how much time did you spend, like the baby, he comes out of Lurleen. Right. Oh, it's amazing. How much time did you spend hanging out after that?
Several hours, I would say. I actually got called by a boss of mine while I was in the hospital with a hours-old Chris Cody wanting me to work that day because something big had broken on the University of Miami beat.
And your answer was?
Hell no.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
What if it's a game 7?
Changes everything.
Greg Cody and Stugotz,
Which round?
During the break were unbelievable and not surprising on Greg Cody and Stugotz, incidentally, who will miss being somewhere where they have to be for the silliest of reasons, just arguing very passionately on behalf of you have to be there for your teammates, as if your wife is not one of your teammates. It's not as if your wife is not your life teammate.
We were saying the first child is more important. It's more important that you be there for the first child than any other child. That's it. That's all we were saying.
Okay, but there are any number of circumstances in a pregnancy that involve a great deal of pain and fear and danger that, maybe you can't do
Save
anything.
for the playoffs.
Let's say the elephant in the room right here. When you got enough money, you can pay for all these things to sit around your wife while you go slay the Joker. So if she needs some comfort, guess what I'm finna pay? The $100 an hour mother trucker. He gonna sit right here, and I'm gonna get a wet nurse. I'm gonna get a ladies don't counsel me. I'm gonna get everything, all the accoutrement.
A doula?
For childbirth.
I'm just trying to figure out Monday afternoon / Monday evening, what was he doing that provided her comfort?
Lucy, your silence here is conspicuous.
Can we stop going to me as the woman, please? Look, my take, if I have a kid and my husband leaves, I'm divorcing his ass so fast.
Wow.
So fast. But that's just me. I don't care what these people do. Live your life. Hope your kid doesn't see you left later in life. I'm sure it won't mess with them, in their brain.
If that's the case, though, you'd argue staying and playing with your teammates is the right move because your wife would not be your life teammate. She divorces you for not being there.
Fickle.
My parents are divorced. I turned out fine. I'm not worried about my future kid.
What was that sound? Who made that sound when Lucy said I turned out fine? Where'd that come from? Was that a meme?
Snitch.
I just didn't know where it came from. It was a genuine, curious question. I thought it was Billy. And I'm so used to a stray sound, a sound of shrapnel hitting the.
Mean.
My therapist that I see weekly and have to see weekly says I'm doing great.
Your court-ordered therapist.
Why are we breaking this down? They didn't even lose, so it didn't really matter.
Because of how passionate Gilbert Arenas' opinion was.
But why does that matter? I don't.
who cares?
No,
Why? Like, this is a good question that I'm asking. Why does it matter what
Agent
Gilbert
Zero.
Arenas thinks about this? Like, I know he's a talking head. We all have our opinions. Like, what?
It's because he got Wally pipped. That's why. That's the
right.
story that no one's talking about. Timberwolves better without Rudy Gobert. Mike Collum.
They won with Rudy.
They're better without him.
Nas Reed.
Nas Reed is a better fit.
He's a good player.
Yes, he is.
He is.
And if people don't care about what Gilbert Arenas is saying, they definitely don't give a damn about what I'm saying. I can't even talk right now.
Oh, but you guys can object.
I'm with you.
This is something that I have heard talked about. This has been a source of debate and conversation for a long time. It's not just Gilbert Arenas. This is something that I've heard talked about in sports for a great deal of time. One of the things that I did find interesting about that Timberwolves Nuggets situation is quietly A-Rod is hurting and Glenn Taylor is like, ooh, I'm feeling pretty good about everything that's happened here in my ownership of the team now that I have the most interesting Timberwolves team I've ever had, because I think Kevin Garnett made one Western did he make
With the T-Wolves.
Yeah,
One time.
One time.
Sam
Cassell, Sprewell.
but this is the best Timberwolves team I've ever seen. I've not seen one better than this. I have not seen one more championship worthy than this. And Glenn Taylor, the owner of the Timberwolves, wasn't for a moment. He was selling the team to A-Rod. It's still a bad trade for Gobert, correct? Whether you think they're better with or without him, that remains a dumb trade that we were all making fun of, even though the Timberwolves are better, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Stugotz were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a bad trade unless they win a championship, in which case nothing matters, right? At that point.
Oh, it could still be a bad trade, though.
No.
They can win a
No.
championship.
For the Minnesota Timberwolves win a title with Rudy Gobert on the roster, great trade.
It's a great trade.
They could
Yes.
never have a draft pick again.
No doubt. But they got
Great
a
trade.
bit lucky here. I mean, and I were talking about this yesterday, and the fact that Anthony Edwards turned into this, Dan, is what made that trade so good, because no one was expecting this at that time.
Yeah.
Well, at the time of the trade, they had an idea that, wow, this guy's pretty good. That's
why they made the trade.
Has Gobert helped him in any way, though, with his development, in your opinion?
Has Anthony Edwards?
Yeah.
I think it's allowed him to be a more aggressive defensive player.
Well, there you go.
But I mean, at the time, we were mocking that trade because it's a three-point shooting league, and they were getting big men.
Oh, and the amount that they traded for it, because it was
Correct.
not. They gave up a lot.
They gave up a lot. And, when you talk to the Minnesota people, they'll tell you, things really started clicking when they acquired Mike Conley last season. That's the piece that kind of made everything start to gel, and they saw the beginnings of what we saw this season with that Conley deal. But Dan, the reality is, like Mike just said, they win a championship. You give every single pick for the rest of the time for that. This is, I believe, up until a couple of years ago, was the losingest franchise in the history of American professional sports by win percentage. There has been no team that's been worse. We talked about Kevin Garnett going to the conference finals. That was the last time they won a playoff series, right? They went to the conference finals in 2004 and then didn't go to the playoffs for another 17 years after that. This is an organization that is, we make fun of the Clippers. Everybody makes fun of the Clippers. But really, when you talk about the biggest losers ever, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. So if they win a championship, and hell, even if they go to the finals, to be honest with you, I think they walk away feeling like it was worth it. It was worth that many picks.
It's interesting that you say that, because the way that you guys are describing it, there is no hypothetical scenario that I could provide you that if you win the championship, you can also have made a bad trade, even though you just got done saying they're better without him. And so I still think it's a bad trade, and I will think it's a bad trade, but it does matter how much he gives them the rest of the way. But you just got done saying they're better without him.
Dan, I'm going to put it to you like this. We put this on Oddball today, I believe. The Clippers gave up 8 million picks for Paul George, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went in that deal. And everyone's kind of doing the victory lap because Shai's been amazing and those picks are never ending. But the reality is, if the Clippers win a championship because they had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, it's all worth it. Yep. They don't care. Nobody cares. This isn't the Yankees where you have 8 million championships and it's like, what's an extra one? For teams like the Clippers and the T-Wolves, it's worth it.
But now, if Paul George wants to go to the NBA Finals, his only shot is by downloading the Game Time app. That's right. Hopefully, he hasn't created one yet, because if he creates an account today and he uses the promo code Dan, he could get $20 off of his first purchase.
Done should also work, but Dan is the
It's
promo
Dan.
code.
Please stop talking. Terms apply. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. That is promo code. Let me be very clear because I screwed it up the first time and Dan jumped right on it. DAN. Promo code Dan. You can see what your seats look like. Technology is an amazing thing. Lowest price guaranteed. Great customer service, and you get flash prices right before tip-off sometimes. The ticket prices dip. Game Time has got your back. Promo code Dan. DAN.